Hello everybody, Michael Klein, Liberty Realty, certified divorce real estate expert. Thank you for watching another one of my videos. Today I want to cover the three things that attorneys should know that could help them and help their clients in selling the home during a divorce situation. And let's start by selling a home could be very stressful. And now if we add a life event like a divorce, you have stress, hostility, worry where they're moving to, feuding couples not in agreements on stuff, etc., when to miss showings. In essence, you have the ingredients of a bomb. So what are the important things to know about selling a home during a divorce? Let's start with the fact that selling a home during divorce is not the same thing as selling a regular home. And you might sit there and wonder why. And the main difference is when you're selling a home during a divorce, you have two parties that own the same property that are complete opposition or conflict with each other. I'm going to give you a great example of a property I was just court ordered to sell, where the husband happens to have right of refusal on the property. Well, you can imagine that the wife, who happens to be the outspouse, she wants the home to sell for as much money as possible. Since he has right of refusal to buy the property, he wants it to get offers as low as possible. So what kind of conflicts am I running into? Well, for starters, she actually has permission from the judge or an order from the judge to view the home even though she doesn't live there, to help prep it for sale. She's also gotten permission to do work in the house if she wants to invest her own money to do preparation work to try and drive the value of the home up. She's now talking to me, and she happens to be the plaintiff, she's now talking to me about having the home staged. Well, he doesn't want the home staged. He doesn't want to do all this prep work. Why? They're in conflict. He wants a lower value. So you have to realize that selling a home during a divorce is much different. And you deal with a lot of conflict situations throughout the whole time. And if you don't have the right realtor trained to go through that, you can wind up with a big nightmare. As a matter of fact, whether it's attorneys or whether it's some of the judges that I've done work with, many of them have said that they have seen so many cases in their careers where the attorney thought they had the right realtor. And yet at the end of the day, a month into it or 2 months into the case, the realtor asked to be let out of the case or let out of the sale of the home because they don't want to deal with the conflict. Well, that's, as a certified divorce real estate expert, I'm not only trained to deal with conflict, but I'm a trained neutral. And there is a big difference, and again, open to discussing that with any attorney. One of the other things I wanted to talk about today was how to help your clients prepare timelines, pricing, repairs, etc. Believe it or not, the most important thing about all that preparation is making sure that the right orders are issued during a court order by the judge. As an example, one of the orders that I often get is called as is. And people turn around and say, what's wrong with the order of as is? Well, again, we have a feuding couple. And at the end of the day, nobody has seen the home. The judge ordered it sold as is. We don't know if there's a hoarding situation. We don't know if there's a structural problem. We don't know if there is an environmental problem. And the one person, whether it's out of spite or anything else, could just throw up his hand and says, I'm not making any repairs. I'm not taking out the oil tank. The judge ordered the home sold as is. So one of the things that I do with counsel all the time, and I welcome the phone calls, is discuss new cases with them. What's going on with the case? And then I will email them a list of orders that would help me in the sale of the property. And I'm going to give a good example of that in a future video on how I help attorneys prepare their MSA for the sale of the property. As far as pricing and repairs, you need to prep your clients. You need to prep them that the perfect sale, neither party gets 100% of what they want. When it comes to pricing, I've sometimes had situations, for example, one person wants to list the home for $600,000 and one wants to list it for $610,000. Instead of spending 3 or 4 weeks fighting, my job is to help them be in the right range. As long as we're in the right range, the market is going to bring the prices of the home back to the exact of where it's supposed to be. Now, let's say that their pricing is different. One wants to price it at $6,000 and one wants to price it at $675,000. I'll do one of two things. Either A, I'll try and get them to meet in the middle, and if not, I then recommend that we'll start at the higher price, even though I might agree that it starts high, but we're going to put right in the listing agreement. If they go 3 weeks or 4 weeks with no offers on the property or almost no showings, we are automatically going to reduce the value of that listing by 5% or 7% every single 30 days. Now, I'd love to be proven wrong. Hopefully we get the higher value, but at least I'm showing them of what the market's going to do. And if they don't get the value, they reduce it down. Same thing with repairs. I've had plenty of cases where things have fallen apart because the parties have not agreed on repairs that need to be made after the home inspection. How could you solve this? A simple order up front from the judge that turns around and says the parties will cooperate and follow the guidance of the listing realtor on what repairs should be made. Sometimes the orders can even say that the listing realtor will suggest the contractor and who will pay for the repairs. All this is going to make it a much easier transaction for both parties, which at the end of the day, yes, the goal is to make sure that your client wins, but at the end of the day, the goal is to make sure that they both get a fair settlement and they both get to go back towards their own individual happy lands. What are some tips for the attorneys that you can guide your clients before we start the process? Number one is to make sure that they realize they're not going to get 100% of what they want. The other thing to make them understand is that the market sets the value of the property. The realtor is there to help guide them based on comps, but markets change every single day. Number two, when it comes to preparing for the process, again, they just need to understand that the realtor is not their enemy. I am here as a neutral, and that can be a whole nother topic about how do you choose the right realtor. But as a neutral, I'm here to help them. I'm here to give guidance. Here's a simple example. I had a case a couple months ago where the home was vacant. The wife, as the plaintiff, had been out of the house for about 2 years. The husband, although he was the in-spouse, he had recently moved out. I did a walkthrough of the home. The home was beautiful, except the interior glass of the sliding glass door was shattered. Reporting back to the wife, as I keep everybody informed, I told her about the glass, and before I could say another word, she hung up the phone, called her attorney, and started screaming that he broke the glass, it wasn't broken when she lived there, and he needs to pay for it. When I finally got her on the phone 2 hours later, I explained to her that she probably just spent in the range of $500 to communicate with her attorney, to have her attorney send off a letter or email to the opposing attorney. And guess what? Her half of the glass was $365. She finally got it. And I said to her that there had been no distribution of proceeds decided upon. So instead of calling your attorney about every little thing every single day, spending $300, $500 every day. And trust me, I know that the attorneys don't have time to deal with all the minuscule phone calls. Just keep a pad on the side of your table or desk. Write this small stuff down. And when your attorney calls you and says, let's go over distribution of proceeds, you could say to your attorney, these are the 5 things that I wanted to cover. So again, my objective is not just to help your clients sell their home and get back to happy land, but it's to help the attorneys to manage their clients, to make sure that they have the right realtor in place so this doesn't start, end, and they could sell the property. And at the same time, help the judicial economy with the efficiency. So you don't have to go back to court time and time again as counsel, filing motions for non-cooperation. Again, thank you for listening. And if anybody has any questions, you're always welcome to reach out. Thank you.